Yo, good afternoon, everybody. What's up? Welcome to another edition of Kingdom Conversations. I'm your host, Pastor Jay Hen. How y'all doing? How y'all doing out there, everybody? I hope everybody had a great weekend. Today is going to be an exciting show. We're going to talk about a plethora of things, but the first thing I want to do is find out how you guys' day is going. If anybody's in the room, talk back to me. Talk back to me. Let's get some comments on. Check in. Let me know you're here. Let me know you're tuned in. Let me see what I can do on my end. But yeah, this weekend has been different for me because this was the first. Cynthia, how you doing? This was the first fifth Sunday, and the Lord led me to do something really different, guys. Because the church has this reputation of just taking from people, taking, and the Lord challenged me to give my church every fifth Sunday off, and Joe, how you doing, man? How you doing, my brother? And it was fantastic. It felt good. I'm talking about it felt good to sleep past 7 o'clock on a Sunday. It just felt good. It was relaxing. I didn't have to rush out the house. Normally on Sundays, I'm flying all over the place. I didn't have to fix no equipment, worry about no sound system. It was just good. Even though I did have to go out to preach, but that's a different type of assignment. So it was good. My boy Chuck Sherman, what's up, big bro? Chuck Sherman is on here. So that was something different for us. And I just got home with my pastor, and he asked me. He said, "So how did it go?" I was like, "Man, it was amazing." He's like, "So you think this is something you're gonna keep up?" I said, "Absolutely, sir. Absolutely." Because I think that, even for me as a pastor, sometimes I need to unplug. I need that moment where I can unplug from, the busyness of life and ministry and just have a USA moment. And that's what that was for me. And even though I was still in church, it was refreshing just to be with my friends and fellowship preaching for Bishop Thomas. And man, we had some crazy church in there. It was crazy. But what I want to talk to you guys about, speaking about church, while we're waiting for our guests to come in, I want to ask you guys something. How do you guys feel about pastors taking the stand? If you're not vaccinated, you can't come to in-person worship. Y'all talk to me about that. How do y'all feel about it? Then I'll let you know where I stand as a pastor. So some of y'all that's in the group chat, let me know what y'all think about that. Because there's a lot of pastors, some guys that have national churches where they're known on a national platform. And then you have some guys that are just known locally, but they're taking pretty strong stands. You have one group of pastors that's saying, if you're not vaccinated, you can't come to church, versus other pastors saying you don't have to be vaccinated to come to church. You guys that are in the room, how do you guys feel about that? Me personally, I'm not in agreement with that, because I think that we have to have an understanding of how vaccinations work. And just my opinion, and my brother Chuck is on it. He's a certified nurse, licensed nurse, so he'll correct me if I'm wrong. But when, let's say me and Chuck are together, right? Knowing the intent of this particular vaccine, the intent of the creators of this vaccine was never to be preventative. It was never to prevent you from catching COVID. It was something that was rushed to help you fight COVID, and the results of getting COVID would not be as severe if you didn't have it. So understanding that, if Chuck takes the vaccine and I don't, him taking it, in my opinion, benefits me nothing. It benefits him and his body. I think that, if Jesus was here, he would have taken the vaccine. I don't think Jesus would have taken the vaccine. I don't agree with that. Because he's the healer, he's the balm in Gilead. So there wouldn't be no need for Jesus to take the vaccine. And I really think that it's a lack of understanding on a lot of people's parts, because then you have the crowd that's saying, well, I don't know what's in my Tylenol. I don't know what's in this. I eat this. I don't know that. I don't know that. Is you being ignorant to what you don't know that you're putting in your body a reason to continue to be ignorant? And that's not an insult. That's just not having information, because you can very easily, if you have a headache, before you pop that Tylenol, you can Google what's in that Tylenol before you inject it or swallow it into your body. Us not knowing what's in anything that we put in our bodies at this point is no excuse, because if you want to know, all you got to do is look it up. This is not 40 years ago, y'all, when we was just, doing this and doing that because we didn't know no better. It's a completely different day. So I am of the persuasion that I am not going to force anyone in my church to have the vaccine or not have the vaccine. I'm going to have certain safety precautions in place. Our guest is here, so I'm gonna hurry up with this. We're going to continue to check temperature. We're going to continue to wear our masks and social distance. But again, guys, this vaccine in particular was never created to be preventative. It was creative. It was created to help you cope with COVID and your symptoms not be as severe, leading to death. So let's be mindful. The church is for everybody. We're just going to be smart with it. But listen, I got to get to this woman of God, because this woman of God is just powerful. Dr. Cheryl Holmes. And I never did this for anybody on my show, but this is how much I honor her. This is how much I respect her. She's a wife, a mother, a minister of the gospel, having graduated from and taught at the West Indies School of Theology in Trinidad. She is a licensed family therapist who runs a thriving private practice. Dr. Holmes holds various degrees in gerontology, which is the study of aging. I didn't know what that was, so if y'all don't know what it is, don't feel bad. I just found out today what it was, and the process and the challenges that go along with aging. She also has a degree in psychology, music, doctor of ministry, and a doctoral degree in family and marriage therapy. She is currently pursuing a doctoral degree in leadership psychology. She is a lifetime member of the Sci-Fi Honor Society of Psychology, a published author of His Heart, Her Voice. She has articles all over the place. I don't want to read this no more, because listen, she's just dope. She's just dope. She's lit, as the young people would say. I want to bring her to the stage, and this is going to be good, y'all. And I want you to get involved with this, because it's not a lot of times that we have access to people like Dr. Holmes in a setting like this. So trust me, after hearing her talk, you're going to have a whole lot of questions. We're not going to be able to get to them all, but let's bring her to the stage. My mentor, my inspiration. She is amazing. Dr. Cheryl Holmes.
Hey.
Dr. Holmes.
How are you doing? I am fully vaccinated.
Oh, you're fully vaccinated. Praise God. You can come to church too.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. How are you doing today?
I am amped. I am hyped to have you here. Thank you for coming to Kingdom Conversation. And I wanted to read that because I wanted our viewers to know who they had access to today. And I really don't open up questions to the end of the interview, but I want to just let it flow. So if you guys have any questions, after you hear this woman of God start talking, you're going to see why I'm saying that. But I want to open the floor now. So if you have questions, let's start it. But Dr. Holmes, let's start with you. I just read a little bit of your bio. Who is Dr. Cheryl Holmes?
See, I would tell you I am a beautiful, amazing looking woman, a black woman. I'm cute.
Come on.
That's what I tell my clients to say. But I am a native of Trinidad and Tobago, and a lot of people don't know that. I was born in Trinidad and Tobago. I got into Music was my life, and a lot of people don't know that. In fact, that's where I met you first, when I
Yeah.
managed the underground um, on Queens Boulevard. A lot of
Yeah.
people, that was a job. It didn't, well, he paid us well, but it was more fun going to the underground. So I know a whole lot of people there. I came to the U.S. I studied in classical music. A lot of people don't know I studied at Westminster Choir College. I did opera. I did jazz at York College. That's where I met Richie Righteous. He was doing Richie was in the jazz performance class. Can't sing jazz though, but he was there as well. Um, God has blessed me. I had an opportunity about 2 years ago to go back to Trinidad and Tobago and speak to over 400 young women. And I was telling them that what helped me and is helping me to get to where I need to get to is reading.
Mm.
I did not, my parents were poor. I didn't, that kind of thing. You grew up poor. Now you know that you're poor, but then it wasn't, you didn't experience it. But
Yeah.
all the characters, I started dreaming about the things, daydreaming. If we look at the Bible says that He is able to give you what you, not just what you ask and think, but what you imagine.
Mm.
And although I was not there physically, I literally would lay on my bed and envision myself, because the prophetic word over my life is that I would speak to millions. But coming from where I came from, that looked impossible until even now, I go to sleep and I listen to where I want to be so that I could kind of get there. So I'm a kind of black nerd. I
Mm.
read, I have quite a few degrees. I get intellectually bored, and when I get bored, I study. I don't ever come before anyone without doing 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 days of studying. So that, in a nutshell, is kind of who I am. So
Okay. Well, you are a therapist, and I want to know, do you believe everybody should have therapy in their life? And why is it such a taboo subject amongst the church?
it is really it's a bigger. I believe everyone should be able to have a therapist that they go to at least once a year. This is just like what
Mm.
we would do for our physical body. We are not sick, but we'll do our yearly checkup. I
Right.
think it's really important to do that and have that mental checkup as well. I think the stigma comes to from the black man, the black and brown man, because it looks like um, it comes all the way from slavery. It comes from that mindset of me admitting that I do not have it all together. And the
Mm.
misconception with therapy is things have to be wrong to to come. I heard you talking about even the vaccine. There's some things that's preventative.
Right.
And once you have that ear, somehow God has given us the the need to be able to, and that's why companionship is a big deal, whether it's in relationship, business, friends. We need that. We need to be able to bounce stuff off of other people. Here's the difference, Jason. If you
Mm.
have a friend who tells you all their problem, what do you do with it? You carry it.
Yeah.
So people come and they say, I'm venting, but then you find it's on your shoulder. For
Mm.
me, like today, I just saw, so far I've seen 5 clients. I probably have about, I'm going all the way until 10 o'clock tonight, back to that. But the gift there with the therapist is not carrying one into the other. We have these compartments that we'll sit with Jason and then put it there in that
Mhm.
compartment until I see him again. And so therapy and good therapists, because you have some bad therapists,
Right.
good therapists, everyone, just like you should have an attorney, just in case, you have a, you go to the dentist, you should also have a therapist.
Mm. That's powerful. That's powerful. Um, you brought up something very good, and I think that is important. And I myself am an advocate for therapy because one conversation with you totally changed my whole life. You said something to me, and I'm privileged to have been trained by Dr. Holmes. I took a course with her, and I have access to call her and different things like that. And one day we were talking, and she said, "Jason, I refuse to allow you to die sitting in the VIP section of another man's auditorium." And when you said that to me, it changed everything. Something in me just said, click, an off switch just came on, and I turned into a monster.
I
Like,
love it though. I see the monster.
yeah,
I
I
love
was like,
it.
yo, there's nothing I can't do. I think that it's so important, and we need to dispel the mindset that going to therapy means that you're not anointed. Going to therapy doesn't mean you're crazy. It doesn't mean something wrong. And to me, I think it makes you wise
It
to
does.
have someone like you in your ear gate.
And you know what is different too? And I do this just a few times. I will call some people, and I don't do this often. And I don't allow people to call me their mentor if they don't listen. If I can't
Mhm.
talk to you, call you and say, you know what, this is what I'm seeing.
Yeah.
Your posture of, because a lot of people don't know who Jason is. You know, you're
Mm.
just there with us commoners and flowing like, you know, you're not all that and all, you know, but you are that person, and you can be the person to say, you know, how dare you tell me anything. I just what I've said to you, I've said to other people who just let it slide. It's
Mm.
not just because not only I a therapist, what I did with you, I went in, I used my coaching hat.
Mm.
And when we're there now, it's a posture of, okay, all right, I'm gonna receive. Because a lot of times people become defensive. So seeing that in you, you are one of the most amazing men that I know. I'm not saying flawless. I'm
Right.
saying amazing in terms of if you sit and I'm praying that somebody does an interview with you and you know your own documentary and stuff is done, because I'm really big on leaving footprints.
Mm.
Miles Monroe will never be forgotten. Never. People still quote him. And
Yeah.
we have to get to that place where we understand who God has called us to be. We're
Mm.
sitting there and we have this false humility that the church says, be humble, be humble. Why? The word says, let your light shine before men, that they would see Jason's good works and say, who's your father? And
Mm.
glorify the Father. So you have to be bright and big and intelligent on purpose. Like people would say, when I start talking about some of the things I've done and my degrees and everything, they say, humble yourself. But this is exactly who I am. What you're saying, become small so I can facilitate you.
Mm.
And you have in your hands the ability. You can sing, you can write, you can call. There's some people's phone number. You can just call, pick up the phone, and just call and just talk to them. Your Grammy Award. I mean, all that kind of stuff. But when I spoke with you, because what I'm seeing is, I'm seeing Jason in the audience. I'm seeing Jason applauding. I'm seeing Jason in that VIP section. I'm seeing Jason there. But where God has called you unapologetically is for the stage, to
Mm.
be that speaker. You know, if I tell you some of the things that I see for you, it's going to mess you up, because you're still, what we say in Trinidad, you're still pitching marbles, which means that you're just still playing, you're playing with the chickens.
Mm.
And God has called you, and when you tap into that, what you see that all things,
Mm.
when you start seeing your life the way that God sees it, you stop messing with those chickens. There's some things that you're doing right now that pacify some people, that might give you a little bit of comfort, but in the deepest depth of your soul, you know those seasons are over.
This is why she's my mentor. Let
I'm
me
not
tell
gonna
y'all.
put it. I'm not gonna put it out there, but
I'll call. We'll talk after the show. But this is what I think everybody needs, because for me, I'll be transparent with my mentor. One of my greatest issues before meeting you and talking to you, and I present confidence. I present it, but deep within, I always knew I was downplaying myself because I never want to outshine anybody else, because in my mind, I think that's how everybody views me anyway. They view me arrogant. So I go to the extreme left to show humility, which is false humility,
Yes,
because the
sir.
truth of the matter is I'm good. I'm great.
You see,
And
that is it. That's what I want to hear. That's
yeah.
what right there. And your mentors are becoming your peers. You've been carrying, you've been armor bearing right now, and it's a switch. And I'm telling you about stuff that has happened to me. And when it happens, you're just like, hold on. When you start talking to your mentors and they get a notepad and they start writing down stuff that you're saying, you're just like, hold on, what happened? But you have to make room for it.
And you're not lying, because I went to preach for Bishop Bernard Jordan. And I got to tell you, that was probably one of the most intimidating assignments of my life, because Bishop Bernard Jordan is one of the most prophetic voices that I
Uh-huh.
know.
Uh-huh.
And so I'm up and I preached a message. I'll never forget it. God will provide. And I'm ministering and ministering, and I turn around and look. Bishop Bernard Jordan has a pad out, writing down everything that I'm saying. And he's sitting there like, oh my God, like, did you hear what this? And I'm sitting there in my mind like, this is ridiculous, because I've sat with him. And when I sit with him, that's my posture. I'm sitting there like, this guy, I watched him raise $50,000 in 10 minutes one time. And I'm sitting there like, this guy, and I turn around and he's taking notes from my mind and what God put inside of me. And sometimes that this is probably going to turn into a therapy session right here. Sometimes it can be intimidating, because again, in my mind, I know how some people viewed me, and arrogance was all I heard all these years. And I'm like, man, I got to go extreme left.
No, 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 no. This is the place. This is and it's not a place that you're going to enjoy. But this is the moment of I don't care. This is the moment of I don't care, because if you don't accept it, you'll abort it. If you
Say
don't
that again. Say that
if you
again.
don't accept it, you will abort it.
Whew.
And that right there, forfeiting. If anyone who really knows me, I was doing praise and worship, singing, and I was at a church where the two instances. I was in South Africa, and my mentor was with me. My job was to read the Bible. No one knew if I can preach or anything else like that. And then he said to me, Cheryl, I'm not feeling well. You have to take on tonight. I'm gonna just give you something to say, and then and I was up there and I pulled out what God had given me, because you know how you're always ready. Like the book that I wrote, I only had to write 2 chapters when the publishing company came to me, because it was already done. It was my journal. And in that moment, I looked at him when I was preaching. He never sat down. He had tears in his eyes, and he says, "You need to shift. You need to shift." Another pastor was in Rwanda. He wasn't feeling well, and this was only pastors, 900 pastors in Rwanda. And he says, "I'm not feeling well. I need you to preach." The same thing. So I have these 2 men saying shift. And I literally said to one, "You're not hearing God, because when God made me, it was only music. This is my defiance."
Right, right.
And but now the shift, I haven't sang anywhere in over, I don't know, 7, 8 years.
Wow.
Keyboard, nothing. I don't touch anything, see my nails. But that shift, because I sit with my clients at times and I hear testimonies like for people like you, and it brings tears to my eyes, because if I did not accept it, I would have aborted this, and thousands of people life would have been affected negatively, because I was not in my position. So when people are talking about arrogance, you need to get in your space, because there are people who only need to get this from Jason. You're in the background. You're still in the background. You're still right now in the background, because you're still thinking. What would they? Who care? People are gonna talk whether you do it right or whether you
Right.
humble yourself. They're gonna walk over you and still say, "Well, he was on the ground," and they'll walk, or you can stand up. But you have to decide how you want the last few chapters of your life to be written, and that is not Jason Hendrickson. You are amazing, and you need to just embrace that. Do it afraid. Do it
Do it
afraid.
afraid. Now,
Yes.
when you say that all the time. What does that mean? Do it afraid.
Hard, but people don't understand. I was in North Carolina, and had an opportunity to speak. And this has happened several times where I find myself around a table where I look around at people who I saw on TV, and my heart is racing. Let me give you guys a little testimony that will make y'all laugh at me. I was at this place where I don't want to say the place, and these amazing people were speaking. And when people like you, but they don't really like you, they give you 10 minutes to speak.
Hmm.
Everybody else have an hour, you have 10 minutes.
Right.
And we were sitting around each other, and the pastors, you know how y'all pastors do. Well, I now have 2 services. The other person's like, well, I baptized 3, 4, 10 people. And they say, so what do you do? I was like, I don't have any churches. So one bishop literally said, what are you doing here? And the bad thing about that, I got so nervous. I remember going up to the bathroom, and it was winter time. I had a skirt that had a zipper in the front and a zipper in the back. I thought I was both zippers popped, both popped. And I was just like, Lord Jesus, these people don't know me. It's big names in the audience. How am I going to do this? When I talk about doing it afraid, I put my coat on, took that 10 minutes, and I'm going to say myself, I killed it. And to the point where everybody was on their feet, whatever, because I know I'm good at what I do, and what I
Hmm.
don't know, I don't do, right? That
Right.
would be the Jason stuff.
Right.
But you know what it took for me to be sitting there mentally. Oh my gosh, what happens if my coat's this? What the mental place that I was in? I had to stand behind the pulpit all the time because I had this coat on. I was wondering, what will people say because you have your coat on? So when I say do it afraid, I had every opportunity to exit. I had every opportunity or every reason to say, you know what? When this man insulted me and said, "Why are you here?" I could have gone. I could have made an excuse because my skirt popped. But
Hmm.
I needed to conquer that because my tomorrow was at stake. My tomorrow was at stake. And if I did not overcome that, I would be stuck in either today or yesterday. So when I say do it afraid, heart pumping, sweat coming down, whatever. I know people, when your hands are shaking like that, don't hold the mic, but continue to do it because every time you do it, you conquer another demon, and that allows you the confidence that you get with that allows you to go even further. The other thing is once you do it, go to a bathroom, go somewhere and say, I killed it. And then go outside and be humble like the people want you to be.
Right. But I like that because I'm just now starting to get comfortable with accepting that. Um, because I don't think false humility is wise either. I think that, you know, sometimes I think false humility is an insult to God because if he gave it to you, his intent, just like the guy in Matthew 25, the guy that took the talent and hid it and
Mhm.
told the Lord, I hid it for you. I put this away so you could have, and he gets rebuked. He says, no, if you didn't know what to do with it, why didn't you give it to one of those that doubled up on everything that I gave them? Because that's the expectation when God gives us something. His expectation is for us to double up on it, for us to make it, you know, more than what it was and expand it through our creative genius that he put inside of all of us. So I hope all the creatives that are watching, because I know I'm not the only one that has battled with that. Because you really have to make sure you're around people that you don't have to dumb yourself down to make them feel uncomfortable, to make them feel comfortable rather. And what did you say? For them to manage you, for them to,
Yeah,
have
they
that
want you, they
control
want
over
to
you.
Yeah, I think this is Darrell Hill. Bishop Darrell Hill is your bishop,
The bishop.
the bishop, and we worked together at this dime saving bank. In fact, I made his first business card.
Mm.
But when we're talking about sitting and having a place or a person having that dream, he may want to kill me for this, but he always loved Noel Jones and
Yeah.
always
Always.
would want to, imitate or copy him or whatever.
Yeah.
Back in those times, it was the cassette, and
Hmm.
he would have those things, whatever. And I have seen Daryl. The person that I met, and this is what I'm saying, don't let anybody kill your dream. And there's
Mm.
sometimes that you have to make geographical shifts so that this baby that you're carrying is not aborted. When I see him now and see the fact that he can bring Noel Jones
Yeah.
to be a speaker at it, it just speaks to that movement. Because at that time, Daryl was doing the choir. I forgot the name of
Hmm.
the choir.
Powerful. The Powerful Praise
Powerful.
Crusade Choir.
Yes,
One of
yes.
my favorite choirs.
You better say that because I see
Yeah.
how you guys fight with food.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
again, it's just, I think, and this is one of the reasons why coaching is so important. I have someone that I'm coaching, and I don't coach everybody. I really do not. I teach and certify people to be life coaches, but I don't coach everyone. But I'm coaching someone right now. And when I started with her, she literally, um, I can't say how much money she's making. She's making a lot of money. And now she says she wants a book, but the book has to be done in 4 months. And
Mm.
when we have that time together, I am not her friend.
Mm.
Anybody know I'm not your friend. We're pulling that from her. It's from inside of her. And what I'm giving her is a vision. When she sat down in our first meeting and did the first chapter, she was totally blown away in 2 hours. So it's not just having somebody in your life, it's someone that you would yield to. This whole process is a voice that you can listen to, a voice that can adjust you in different ways. That's what makes it work.
Now you're talking about voice, and you wrote a book, His Heart, Her Voice. You are a very successful woman. Um, but you have, and me and Bishop Hill was talking about you earlier because I told him that you were coming on the show. And I said, man, you know what it is about Dr. Holmes? She's a female that just gets the mind of males. And you're able to regurgitate what we give you and what we think to women from a perspective that they can understand. How and why in the world would you even try to tap into something so dangerous? Because you come into stuff like the man cave and you're the
Yes.
only woman in there and you just let us run amok and just say whatever. And you always, with such class and with such elegance, bring it all back around. How did you know that was something that you needed to be a part of?
I think it happened to me. So a lot of people may know or may not know that I was married very young, got divorced. My ex-husband passed away, and nothing prepared me for divorce. And one of the things, and I saw myself as this amazing woman and woman of God. I was all over the place, um, teaching and all of that. And so when the relationship ended, I asked, I wanted to see the relationship through his eyes, hear him. And that's very difficult because I have a perception of who I am, but his experience was different. His experience, he reminded me, and at this time I was doing, I can't remember what degree it was, but I remember him coming home and he said, I miss smelling bread in the oven. So I was
Mm.
like, oh, you want bread? So I bought the bread, but I missed the point. I bought the bread and I missed the point.
Because he
And
was
as I,
saying,
he
yes,
was saying, you cooking,
right.
you being there for me. And I didn't. And the other thing that was happening everywhere, everybody was like Cheryl, 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 Cheryl. Not him, not him, not talking about him.
Right.
And a woman who is not a wise woman that Proverbs talks about. Everybody wants to be the Proverbs 31 woman. We need to be the wise woman. She builds and recognizing, what am I hearing? That I'm hearing a need that I'm not filling. So somebody else took my place. But is it my place? The only reason someone took my place. Now there's some men out there who just, wow, it doesn't matter what the woman does.
Right.
You know, they just greedy.
Mm.
But a lot of times the crack that the woman leaves because she's busy with things, children, work. I hear women now. I hear it. I cringe. My education come first. All of that puts a crack in there. And when God looked at Adam, He says, it's not good for him to be alone.
Right.
And even when he has to be alone temporarily, let it be for a short time, a short season, right? And that is the mind of God. But we leave our men alone a long time, not just in terms of where we are emotionally, but all around. And I did that. And when I started to look at when the relationship ended and I was bringing up two boys, I said, I need to know how men think. I was going crazy. I read every book. If you were sitting with me at any time, I would be taking notes. So what do you think about this? So how do you feel about that? And that is where over 900 men were interviewed, because coming from my failure, and the failure, not just failure because my husband was promiscuous. He wasn't, my ex-husband was promiscuous because I wasn't there. It wasn't because he was greedy. So while there was, oh, you could control it, I took full response. I know the women are going to want to strangle me.
This is, I've never heard no woman say this.
100%. I took 100% responsibility, because if a cup is full of tea, there's no way, as much as it desires juice, you have to empty the tea to get the juice in there. I moved from my place. And my movement from that place, and women don't like to hear that. Oh, he needs to have self-control. He needs to have all of that. What he needed was me. Not my intelligence, not me going all over the world. My first assignment. And when I understood that, it changed how I saw submission. Submission is one of the most beautiful things.
Yes.
I'm smart, intelligent. I can do this, that, and the third. He doesn't want that. He wants a wife.
Yeah.
He wants me there. And and I'm going to be talking about this later on tonight, how to have an affair, because a lot of us talk about the man gets, but I'm still advocating that infidelity is a sign that something is wrong in the relationship. Anybody who just sees infidelity and says, I'm gone, they're not mature enough in Christ to understand, why does this man leave this good thing? Again, you have those men who have that history. A lot of these men, they've been married 2, 3, 4, 5 times. And if you ask wife number 1, or wife number 2, wife number 3, number 4, they say the same thing. That's not the man I'm talking about. Right. I'm talking about a man who sincerely wants to work on his marriage, who would be I'm a sex therapist. And you know how many Christian people not having sex? I hope I can say sex on your program.
Yes,
but
yes.
You know how many Christian people not having, because the woman is sanctified and Holy Ghost filled, and it's not happening. And the man cannot watch pornography, and he cannot masturbate.
Now, are you an advocate for pornography and masturbation?
No. I'm not. Okay, I just view it differently. Right? I'm the refrainer. I really believe that God is intelligent. I don't like when people say what God is trying to say, because God has never tried to say. I don't like people filling in the blanks of God. God specifically said, thou shalt not kill. He specifically said the woman at the well. And then he said Elizabeth, and he said Mary, and So what God wants us to know, He has put in the Bible. Right?
Right.
While everything that we do in extreme can be detrimental, there's some
Mhm.
things that can be managed. Now, when all of y'all come to my couples retreat that I'm having in Orlando, or you're my client, I am going to give you, Lord Jesus, help me, two homework. One would be to watch with your husband an act of making love to people. You can call it research. And two, to go to a sex store and peruse the store together. I know the church, Lord Jesus, I am not going to be called into speaking.
No!
I know. There's one person, one pastor said, I love you, but I can't call you to preach.
I know my mother is watching this like, what in the
There are times because you want to see why is he, you don't want your spouse to be sneaking around and looking at stuff.
Mhm.
And that's the whole idea. He's in the bathroom with his phone and all of that. The wife should be, babe, what are you watching? Can I watch one with you? That would do two things. One, after he gets a heart attack and fall out and you have to resuscitate him, he is going to recognize, like, I can share this with you.
Right.
And that may just minimize the occurrence. And then her being just like you would do with basketball, somebody don't know football when you're watching with your spouse, just like, so what do you like? You know, what is it
Mhm.
that you, and you make that a topic of discussion. The secrets in the relationship is what hinders the relationship.
That's
And when I
powerful.
have to hide that, now masturbating, it's like, okay, babe, why do you have to? And a lot of men, that's the lesser of the two evils. It's
Right.
either there's no sex in the marriage, it's a sexless marriage. Um, and because I'm saying sexless in the terms of the person making a decision to withhold themselves. I'm not talking
Mhm.
about somebody who may be having physical challenges.
Right.
Because
Right.
even with physical challenges, that's where you want to be able to use your hands and different things that you can walk through. That's why you need to go to the toy store. I said
Mhm.
the toy store, and get some toys to enhance
Mhm.
that, right? That's if you're having that problem.
Mhm.
But if somebody is withholding themselves, that desire is still there.
Right.
So the man is like, I don't want to go. I literally had a clergy person who asked, he said, I don't want to have commit adultery. What do you think about happy ending massage? And we
Mhm.
literally, I had to bring him from that to masturbation. And somebody is going to say, oh my gosh. But I got him from the happy ending massage to the masturbation
Mhm.
because this was involved in someone else,
Right.
right? And that is specific as to what the Bible talks about. And
But now,
so we
how?
have to,
What do you say to the people that say masturbation still involves other people? Because how do you arouse yourself without thinking of somebody else that may not be your spouse?
well, it doesn't have to, this is one of the reasons I like going into the man cave because recently we were in the man cave and one person who is engaged was talking about it and was saying that I know women do not need a stimulant. It can just be that time of the month or just it's just something that you can touch yourself and you're there. But I heard this man say that you don't need that stimulant. And you, for the Christian man, you can go back in the archives and get one of those memories of your wife. You know the song "Blessed," what's it? Precious memories, how they linger.
I don't think that works with that particular song.
Well, sometimes that's all people have, just memories of time past because there's
But
nothing happening
if
now.
I'm if I am doing that and the thought process is my wife, why do it when she's right
Because
there?
yeah, because she is not giving you anything. Now the mind works. The mind is the biggest sex organ, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that can be something, thinking about the act of sex. This is one of the reasons why phone sex works for people. There's no visual. It's
Mm.
what he's getting in his ear. And the
Right.
mind can pull a file and replay it and get you there. So you do not hear the visual. There is a big industry that is just phone sex. She's just talking to you. And so people who are saying that you need to have that visual, it does not have to be a picture of someone. It can be something that you create in your own mind, because a lot of times you don't see the person on the other end. I'm not advocating for
Right. Right.
phone sex. I'm just
Right.
saying that it just proves that you do not need to have that visual. Again, it can be something that's taken, done. I'm saying that it can be done in marriage, where the husband and wife pleasure each other, but you know, I know the church. I don't. The church is gone now. They
Listen, these are the type of conversations I think that we need to have in the proper context, of course. But this is what we shy away from, which is why the divorce rate is so high in church. You know what I mean? Because it's a problem in a lot of marriages. It's a problem in a lot of marriages. But while I have you here, Dr.
yes,
Holmes,
sir.
let's shift it a little bit. I'm gonna
Hmm.
put you in the hot seat because you always put me in the hot seat.
Okay.
Now I get to put you in the hot seat. First thing I want to say is if there's anybody in the chat room that wants, anybody on the live YouTube, Facebook, you want to ask Dr. Holmes a question or ask me a question, the floor is open now. But let's get to it because you always find out what we think. But now let me flip it on you, Dr. Holmes. We want to know why women do certain things. Why do women say things like, tell me the truth? And then when you tell the truth, women weaponize it against you. Why do women do that?
I don't know why they do it. My suggestion is, when you hear a woman say, "Tell me the truth,"
Run.
I give her in dosage. You have to give in dosage. Even the doctor, when the doctor prescribe medicine, you have to
Mm,
read. You know, like we don't get all the time order, just pop it in. It's just one a day. Look at how she manages it, because there are few women who can handle that, and it's an art to be able to um, get that information and not apply it anywhere, because that you she may be good for today. So man, here's the thing: when she says, "I don't want anything for Christmas, don't buy me anything," buy her something. When she says she can handle it, because we lie.
but that's what I want to. Why can't y'all just say what it is? Like, if you want something for Christmas, just say, like, for instance, if I say, what's wrong? And you sit
Nothing.
there, nothing. I know you're lying. Why won't you just tell me what's wrong?
Because here's the thing. Here's we are complex. Here's what a woman said to me at a therapy session. She said she was having this relationship with this person. She's like, I blocked him on Instagram, my phone, and everything. But he better call me.
Quite the
So
conundrum.
it's they want. So here's the thing. If you say nothing, give her a little hug, hold her, and say, when you're ready to talk, I'm here. The woman wants to constantly be um, pursued, and that nothing, and then you have to hear that nothing, and what else comes. If it's nothing and she slam a plate down, run for your life, because that nothing is not nothing, and there are different kinds of nothing. So
Right.
we lie. Women, we lie about a lot of things. Women would be the ones, we go on dates. It's women, we go with our representative more often than men.
Hmm.
And a lot of relational things, women would lie more than a man. They will come out and tell you, you know what, I'm dating four people right now. You're just one. A woman would not tell you that. It doesn't mean that it's not happening, but she's not going to tell you.
So are you saying that women are more, I don't want to say sneaky, but more
Sneaky.
secretive? Well, yes,
Secretive.
because that's what it is. It's
Yeah,
sneaky.
we're better. And the thing about it, men always underestimate the woman. You know, a man will be doing, out there running the streets and whatever else, and he's like, I have a good wife at home. A lot, Jason. And here's a bad thing. A lot of what the woman has learned, she learned from you guys. And now,
Wait a
and
minute.
just like everything else, she's
Now
made it
hold on.
better.
What are you trying to tell me, Dr. Holmes? You saying that the woman that cheats learned how to cheat from the man that's cheating?
Yes, sir.
I don't agree.
Mhm.
I don't. I think that beast of cheating was in you from day one. I may have magnified it,
No,
but
you said it was you endorse it. Here's the thing: when a man treats a woman a certain way, she now says that's okay.
mm,
When she is ready to dish out, to eat what you've dished out,
oh, we can't take that.
can't take it at all.
No, we can't take it.
But do not and especially a quiet woman, because when a woman stops talking, we talk about it from a man's perspective. But when a woman stops talking, when a woman stops fighting for you, it's a wrap. It doesn't mean that she's with somebody else.
But that's what I
It's
was going
just
to
that
ask you. Does that automatically mean
no.
that she's with somebody? Because that's the other thing too. Nobody wants nobody that nobody wants.
Right. She's not with somebody the way that you guys will be with somebody, but there's somebody who has her ear. Um, there's a friend.
Okay, because it doesn't have to be from a physical perspective.
Right.
It can be more psychological, fulfilling just through conversation.
Just converse because that's her thing, having that person to talk to, complimenting her, and the man is there and he thinks that okay, she's quiet about it, but a quiet woman is a dangerous woman.
Okay,
So
so let me put myself on a hot seat. So say like for me, I am not always touchy feely, huggy, kiss, kiss, kiss. I don't, some days I want to play around and play fight and all that stuff. But then a lot of times I'm like, am I wrong for being like that?
yeah, this is a job, Jason. If you were selling cars and some days I just don't want to sell cars. I just want to just go in there and just sit down and be on the phone. You'll be fired. The only job that people think that you could just like not work is in the relationship.
So are you?
It's actually it is work.
Oh God! So are you saying that the man that don't put in the work is the man that's gonna get fired?
He is going to be fired. Either that or you get written up over and over and over again. That's the nagging that you're going to get.
Wow. Well,
But that's your job. Your job is to be, and a lot of times we talk about feelings like if it is a big thing. We don't feel like working. Don't tell your congregation, but you don't feel like pastoring all the time. You don't feel like preaching. Well, it's your job. And we can say it's a calling, but sometimes even with the calling, you just say, "Oh my gosh, I just want to just chill."
right.
But it's work. It's work every single day that we have to sign up to. In fact, I tell couples every day you need to check. Did I did I give a compliment today? Am I being nice? Am I being kind? Those things that you need to check. By the time you get to bed, you need to scan the day and say, did I, show any love and affection? Did I do anything? What have I done that benefited my relationship in the past 24 hours? Because
Wow.
that's your job. And if
And
not, you're going to get fired. And that's why a lot of women, we get fired. But men, you get fired too. But when you get fired,
who
you don't
gets
like
fired
to-
more?
I think what happened, men have a way of not firing you, but hiring more people to do the job.
Oh
They're
my
not going
God.
to fire you. You just going to be there in your position, but then you see there's an administrative assistant, there's going to be whatever else, there's some helpers. Men just do it differently.
Dr. Holmes, you are something else. Let me tell you something. Everybody that comes on the show, because we get ready to wrap up, I play a game with them called word association.
Okay.
So the way it works is I say a word and you give us the first thing that pops in your mind. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
You ready?
Ready?
Communication.
Love. Oral sex. Oral sex meaning, when I say oral, I mean talking sex. Talking. Said what comes to my mind. Talking.
Okay. Lord Jesus, what am I doing with Dr. Holmes?
I don't know.
Therapy, because I'm gonna need some after this.
Do it often. Do it often. Find a good one, a good therapist.
Apology.
Has to be done well. Has to be done sincerely. Has to be done often. Does not mean that you lost.
Comfortability.
Subjected to. It's subjective. It's not something that necessarily can be given, but it's something that you have to create and communicate that that's what it is.
Assignment.
Assignment. You know what? I don't know why that just dropped on me like really, really hard. Assignment has to be fulfilled. No matter what you lose in the process, that assignment has to be fulfilled. And some of us, you have to lose a lot to be able to get to that thing. But purpose, you have to be driven by that. I haven't slept last night because I was reading this book and it was so good. And the cost of the oil is because you understand the assignment.
Powerful. Yeah. Sex.
It has to happen often. If it comes up, don't let it go down before it goes in. That's what just came to my mind.
If it comes, say that again.
I said, if it goes up, don't let it go down before it goes in.
Up, down, in.
Really, you want it up, in, and then down. Down's supposed to be last, but
yeah,
you don't get me in trouble.
Dr. Holmes, you are amazing. You are a gift to the body of Christ. I wish I could just have you every week because you have so much to offer. And you know what I love about you because I don't remember the first time I became attracted to what you do was that night at Pastor Chris Church.
Yes, that conversation in the
office.
The pastor's office.
I was sitting there listening to you talk. I said, I don't know where this lady came from. I knew who you were. I said, but I have to connect with her. You were dropping so much wisdom, so much information. It was ridiculous. It's ridiculous. So if people want to, because you have a bunch of training sessions, you help people I became a life coach through your training. If people want to get in contact with Dr. Cheryl Holmes, how do they do that?
The short version, since I have to run, would be you can text me at 646-653-9080. 646-653-9080, or inbox me. You can inbox me here on Facebook. I'm on Instagram as well. So, but texting is much faster if you want to get it.
Well, let me put that up in the comment section real quick.
646
646
653
653
9080.
9080. Now I know y'all hear Dr. Holmes talking all this sex stuff, but she is a happily married woman. She's married to my brother, so don't none of y'all perverts get in her inbox talking about all this stuff. If you want therapy, you get therapy. But I know that spirit. Don't you go after her because you're gonna get embarrassed.
Trust me. Yes, you
You're gonna
will.
get embarrassed.
It's not that. I just want to make talking about love, talking about sex, a part of our normal conversation. We don't do it in a raunchy, kind of nasty way. We can do it with nice finesse. And I just want it to be part of our normal conversation. So that's the only reason
Well,
we do
I'll
that.
tell
And
you
we do
this:
other things as
you
well.
are absolutely necessary. Your ministry is unique. It is life changing, and I pray that God continues to open up doors for you all over the world because you are way bigger than local ministry. As you already know, you've already been traveling all over the world, and I pray that once this pandemic opens back up and things open back up, that you will get right back to it because the world needs to hear Dr. Cheryl Holmes. And as long as I'm alive, I'm always going to talk about you, always going to put your name out there because you changed my life. And I'm living the lifestyle that I'm living. I'm providing on the scale that I'm providing for my family because of one statement from you. And I will always be in debt. That's why anytime your staff calls me, I don't care what I got. I'm like, Dr. Holmes need me. I'm there. It's not even a question because you don't forget the people that help transform you. And you are that person to me. So
Well, you
this,
see, it's reciprocal, right? Because
yeah, absolutely.
I have a 4 o'clock person that's waiting for me, and only Jason. I want you to know, hear my heart. I'm so proud of you. I'm really, really,
Thank you.
really proud of you. And don't go through anything in your life alone. You know, I'm here because
Thank
I'm
you.
seeing people falling apart, and when you come in, secrets are safe with me. For anyone who's listening, who
Yeah.
um, you want to just kind of run. Sometimes it's just talking it out. It's not that you want
Mhm.
any. I have 17 pastors, senior pastors, who just come on a weekly basis and just talk.
You're not
And
gonna make me
so,
cry on this thing right here,
no,
Dr.
but
Cheryl. You're
you're
not gonna
you're
make
in
me do
that.
it.
You have to kind of look at what you're doing and see if that's what you should be doing now. Some seasons, like I said, is over. You got to get on that stage, make your name great. That's what God says that He's going to do. Make your name great. And there's a whole like Joseph. There's a whole nation waiting for you to get in position. Forget everybody who think you're arrogant. You know, I mean, what's the opposite of arrogance? We don't know. We don't care. Just be you. Make those bread pudding. And I have to get one. I was telling my husband that I haven't tasted it, so I have to get that.
The banana pudding.
The banana pudding
Yeah.
and all the other stuff that you're doing. I love it. The music, wherever we can support, we're there. You are one of my gems. I said I have a 30% because when you do anything, you have 30% of the people who listen and they use it. 70% just liked you and they just did the stuff and they threw it away. But to watch you grow is really, really a blessing. Whenever you need me, I'm here. Gotta run, but I'm here for you.
Thank you. Dr. Holmes, I love you and I appreciate you. We'll talk to you soon.
Bye bye.
All right. Y'all, that was Dr. Cheryl Holmes. She was trying to make me cry, but because y'all don't know that side of me. I'm a waterhead, but she is such a major part of my life. And I think that every leader needs a person like Dr. Holmes in their life that will, because sometimes, guys, when you're the one that's always pouring out and giving, you have to have someone that deposits back in you. And that's one of my mentors. So I hope that you guys were blessed by this today. I certainly was. It was a talk show slash therapy session for me. And I'm leaving better and I'm leaving empowered. And I hope that you guys are as well. So thank you guys for tuning in. This has been another episode of Kingdom Conversations with your boy, Pastor Jason Hendrickson. And I want you to tune in next week. Our guest will be my brother, Pastor Alex Williams from the IM Ministries, Institutional International Ministries, downtown Brooklyn, New York. This guy is doing an amazing job. He's a third generation preacher, and he's going to be our guest, and we're going to be talking about um, doing ministry in the pandemic, pre-pandemic, post-pandemic, and we're going to be talking. He just did a tremendous baptism service outside in the street, right in the middle of the block of his church. He's just an innovative thinker, so he'll be our guest next week. But again, thank you, Dr. Cheryl Holmes, and I'm telling y'all, that was just light work. If I had more time with her, we would have opened up a whole nother can, and I would have just let her loose, let her just do what she does. Because, when you're around wisdom, one of the things I learned to do is to be silent. You don't do a lot of talking when you're around people that are more wise than you. You don't do a lot of talking when people are, hey, Knight, I got your message. I'm gonna call you as soon as I get off. You don't do too much talking when God gives you access to wisdom like that. But she said some powerful things. She said your mentors are becoming your, what did she say? Your peers, your mentors. When God shifts you, one of the signs is when your mentors become your peers. Whoo! Life changing, life changing. And she also said something that was so powerful, because we were dealing with false humility. And she said, you have to get into a season of I don't care. I don't care who can't handle what God is doing in my life. I don't care who thinks I'm arrogant by me just being who God called me to be. You have to get into a I don't care season. And that ties right into what I told my church last week. I told my church last Wednesday that we're getting into an only God season. Only God could do this. Only God could cause us to walk in such a high level of favor, such a high level of excellence in the midst of all that's going on, all that's happening, all of the health issues that people are having, the death that we're experiencing, challenges with our children, our finances. In the midst of all that, we still see the hand of God. So I pray that you guys were really blessed. I know this was what I needed today. I needed to hear this. And she also told me, Pastor Jason, you're amazing. I agree. Let me tell you, I want to tell her, I'll stop you when you start lying, Dr. Holmes. I'll stop you when you start lying. But that's just the way she is. My prayer is that God will put you around leaders that are not insecure, leaders that can handle how big God made you. Because I never want to be the type of leader that has greatness under my tutelage and I become intimidated and I try to compete with them instead of completing them. That's the guy I never want to be. I never want to be that guy. I always want to thank God for putting greatness in my hands, and I want to shape and mold them to what they're supposed to be, or whatever part I'm supposed to play in their development. That's what I want to do, and I want to thrust people towards their destiny. So remember, guys, Kingdom Conversations every Monday at 3 p.m. Nobody, and I mean nobody, can stop you from becoming who God called you to be, but you. You are amazing. You are fearfully and wonderfully made. God has some amazing things in store for you, and I want to see you living your dreams to your fullest potential. I hope that you guys will continue to pray for me, because I'm going to continue to pray for you. Have an amazing day, guys, and we are out of here.